Hi, I'm Johnetta Roberts, Neighborhood Initiatives Manager for the Louisville Independent Business Alliance. Welcome to the West Louisville Trailblazers video series. The goal of this video series is to introduce you to trailblazing West Louisville entrepreneurs and to introduce you to resources that can benefit your company as you start and grow. Here at the Louisville Independent Business Alliance, we feel it is important to focus on West Louisville and the amazing entrepreneurs that have been in business for many years and are poised to grow. And we want to also inspire new businesses to start and grow in the area so that West Louisville can continue to grow and thrive.
My name is Catherine Skaggs, and I'm the Small Business Resources Librarian at the Louisville Free Public Library. It's mid-August. Summer reading for the kids is over, but year-round you have access to small business resources for your research at the Louisville Free Public Library, available for free with your library card. So please consider us. Check out our website. We've got all kinds of databases, for example, if you want to do things like generate a list of leads, figure out who your competitors are, have access to industry journals that otherwise you would have to buy a really expensive subscription to. Use the library. We're absolutely here for you. And that includes me. As a small business resources librarian, I am here to help you with your research. And you can find me at the Shawnee branch, which is between 39th and 40th on West Broadway. Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here tonight.
I'd like to know a little bit about your journey, what it took for you to become Chris 2X and what it even means to be Chris 2X.
Excellent question. And let me start by thanking LIBA, Business First, Community, am I saying the right, Community Bank Foundation?
Park Community.
Park Community, I apologize, Park Community. Thank you all for sponsoring, representing, and keeping this energy going, especially in the Black community where it's needed. And again, kudos to you all. Let's give them a hand for bringing that energy like that. So, to get to that question, first thing I'd like to do is thank each and every one of you who has, and I mean this sincerely, tremendous skill sets that I wish I had. However, we all do our thing in a unique way, but I would bet all of us have a common interest, especially in advocating for safe and healthy kids. So we'll get to that in a few minutes. With that said, as I dig into, your question about the early evolution and then getting to this point, which, I know we have time constraints. I'd first like to say something about what Nate Moore said really quick. Nate failed to mention when he was so gracious to take me, a person that came from the streets, a person that didn't even graduate from high school, to the New York Stock Exchange and get down on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, where you only look at this from my space, from a television, and to behold the power of Wall Street was amazing. What he didn't tell you guys was on where he took me to lunch that day. He says, we're going down to Times Square. They're going to put our technology company up on the big screen that goes really, really way up in the air and other screens. But he says, here's where we're going to stop from lunch. And he took me to Taco Bell. And that was a good thing. Coming from a person, no, he's very humble, coming from a person who started with $10,000 to create his technology company. And you guys can Google up the rest. Google up Nate Morris, especially on celebrity.com, and then it'll tell the rest of the story. I just had to get that in. Thank you. You're too gracious. Now I'm going to get to Xacia's question.
I want to pause really quick. So what did he let you order at Taco Bell? Was it a dollar menu or?
Yeah, well, it was more than a dollar menu, all you can eat, but we kept it very conservative. Thank you again. Let's give Nate a hand one more time, y'all. All right, Xacia, as it relates to the early days, again, we're on time constraints, but let me sum it up from this perspective. We all encounter, whether we like it or not, a lot of trials, tribulations, joys, and pains as an ebb and flow roller coaster ride in life. Mine was no different. Mine was a lot of self-inflicted wounds. I was around at an early age, middle age, and even into my growing adulthood, individuals who inspired me where I could have been better, early on, but I fell short, and I blame no one for that. These were self-inflicted wounds. So out of that pain, and the pain you have to keep enduring when you keep self-inflicting pain, you got to find a way out, and you got to find energy that can take you out of that negative energy. As we move forward in life, 26 years ago, and since you guys got me out here, I have no problem in being blunt about me. Very blunt. So if you got a question, I'll try to answer it, no problem. 26 years ago was my cycle into a new horizon after I came off a lockdown. I was through and attempted not to want to keep running into more deep pain. And guess who took me into that new horizon? My beautiful nation family. Sister Diabra, you know when I came to y'all. My angels not here who was sent to me, Brother Edward Muhammad. And I can just keep naming them. Emil and Akila Halim, who were trying to touch me at the earliest age of 11 years old on up and never gave up on me. But if you want to know if anybody wants to know where my evolution started and where the epicenter of my change started, it was the nation. And that will never, ever change. Just like you guys love Muhammad Ali, well, I came from that spirit that took him from Cassius Clay to Cassius X to Muhammad Ali. He's on a different plane of life, but all of us are worthy for change once we run to it, whatever your persuasion, whether religious persuasion, where spiritual persuasion takes you, to go to the next step, to want to see yourself in a different mindset. So, with that connection with the nation, things opened up. It opened my mind up to my self-worth. And once I understood my self-worth, I started to feel my real calling. And my calling was to understand how to deal with humanity in the best understanding of the way to deal with humanity. And that meant that I always had it, and now I get acquainted with something I love, and that was the love of dealing with parents and children. I always had it in me. I never knew it until my consciousness woke up to another level for me to gravitate in those spaces. And when we look now from 26 years ago to now, August the 20th, 2024, there's so much of that process that I could talk about. But I want to really address what a lot of young people ask me about all the time, which is interesting. They say, you came from lockdown. How did you do all of this? And what is making you different than the average person coming out of lockdown? And I tell them, nothing makes me different. Everybody has a unique gift. I think what I've understood is I respect everybody's gift. Each one of you that came through that door, I approached you all. You didn't have to approach me because I respect you all that much, as I wouldn't do that. I don't even know everybody in this room, but I respect the fact that you walk on this planet as a human being and you got something to offer to the planet. So with young people, their biggest thing is if they're tied up in the magnetic, powerful pull of street life, they always want to ask the question, if they've been associated with incarceration or their family members, have been associated with incarceration, how did you, Christopher 2X, in 2019, get bestowed upon you an unconditional pardon from the governor of the state of Kentucky, where it wiped all of your negative past away? Then they follow up and they ask, how did you, Christopher 2X, coming back the next year in 2020, 2 days before Christmas in December 2020, get 2 calls from Washington, D.C., 1 from the White House, 1 from a U.S. senator, saying that the president has given you an unconditional pardon where your federal issues are gone. You know what I told these young individuals? That pardons are like a lottery pick. You'll never get them. I did not ask for pardons. My family knows a retired Air Force Brigadier General who's a Louisvillian by the name of Rob Gibbons, a combat fighter pilot, approached us 2 years before he wanted to work with a U.S. senator on these pardons. We rejected that. I told him that I could live with my past. I don't have to run from my past. It is what it is. It's a part of my evolution. And true redemption doesn't come from a party. True redemption comes from doing good, kind acts to other human beings. So I tell young individuals all the time while they dream of how did you get to the pardons, that is a lopsided thought. It's not realistic, and it's like going out and buying a lottery ticket. The odds are astronomical. But since it happened, what I will constantly do is talk to young people about redemption and how, regardless of your challenges and the negative things that you've been connected with in life, where you feel so degraded and so ashamed, that the best redemption is you building your spirit up for a good fight, and you do the right thing towards other human beings and yourself first, and watch the magic occur.
So, Chris, let's talk about those redemption efforts. Will you go into Game Changers and briefly take us through some of the different programs that they have? And I guess the inception of Game Changers is a way for kids to redeem themselves and beat all the odds that are against them in order to be successful.
Thank you for that, Xavier. That's an excellent question. So, out of the when we go back 26 years ago, coming out of incarceration issues, 23 years ago, to be exact, as I was still being shaped in my beloved nation, I started to wonder more and more how I could just be a part of partnering with and being with organizations who wanted to help, especially the poor. And that started my evolution in collaborating with non-governmental organizations or nonprofits. And then I took a leap of faith and said, I'm going to quit my third shift job and I'm going to see how things go from here. And that's when I started my process of working under nonprofits. And then in beginning of 2018, a friend of mine who is no longer with us because he died of kidney cancer. But he was a former 34-year career special agent of the U.S. Treasury. The U.S. Treasury allowed him to go to law school to become a tax lawyer. His name was Chuck Atkins. Chuck told me, he said, listen, I've watched this long enough. He says, we got to get you in the mindset of starting your own nonprofit or NGO. And I said, Chuck, I don't have the skill sets to do it, and I'm being honest. I don't know how to build those infrastructures. And any of you all who know me, I'm going to be a straight shooter with you. And I was honest. Chuck said, let me tell you something. We're going to put infrastructure around you. And I said, you really pushing me? He says, I'm going to push you. And he said, don't worry about nothing. Remember, I'm a former IRS agent. You have nothing to worry about. You're going to get this done. And so I went and talked to my friend who Nate mentioned, who I've been in collaboration with kids and parent events, advocacy efforts, and that is Percy Miller, AKA Master P. And I told Master P about this conversation with Chuck Atkins. And P says, listen, Chuck's right. He says, if you don't take a leap of faith, he says, you really can't serve the people the way you want to serve. You're just going to be working under people.
That's huge. Mm-hmm.
And he says, here's what I'll do. He says, I've got a brand called Game Changers. Here we go. He says, let's give you that brand. And by the way, you can put any extension on it you want. And since we've seen several Game Changers, we said, okay, let's make it 2X Game Changer. And with Chuck's help and Master P's help, that was the start of the evolution of the 2X Game Changers organization 6 years and some change later. What that has did for us as it relates to our platforms, to get to your question, it has allowed us to go outside of the box, but still be, I think, smart enough to have partnerships that will benefit families, especially the children and their parents. So, a part of our mission statement about Game Changers is trying to deal with kids who face first and secondary trauma issues due to unspeakable negative interactions, violence, or everything that entails. What we did in the fall of 2020 was remarkable. We were having unrest in that year as it relates to George Floyd, the Breonna Taylor situation, and others. The students from the University of Louisville Medical School approached surgeons in the Department of Surgery and said, we want to see if you all can set us up with a conversation with Christopher 2X. So one Dr. Christopher Jones, an African-American transplant surgeon who's the director of the Traeger Transplant Center at U of L Jewish Hospital, and my longtime hand-in-glove partner, trauma surgeon, Dr. Keith Miller, approached me and says, we got something that you might get excited about. And I said, what is that? And they said, medical students want to partner with you. And I said, that is interesting in itself.
Kind of out of left field, too.
Out of left field. Mm-hmm. Their conversation, you guys got to hear this. When they sat down with me, and just for everybody's FYI, my collaboration with U of L Health and U of L Hospital, out of the 23 years of my public advocacy work, is 16 years strong now. A lot of people didn't know that I had been partnering with the Department of Surgery at their request for 16 years. So when the medical students sat down with me, their question to me was, and you guys got to hear this, they said, how can we partner with you to get out there and do some social justice work? And then I told them, I said, that would be fine. I said, but however, I got a different thought. And they said, what is your different thought? I said, we got children in this city suffering from trauma that's unspeakable. First and secondary trauma. And I said, since, unfortunately, we have newscast after newscast that has to report these issues, these are the unseen storylines that we can try to tap into and raise to another profile. And they said, what would you suggest? I said, listen, here's one thing I do know. There's never been a time in Metro Louisville that I know of, and if somebody can point it out, please do, that we've ever had medical students and doctors partner with little black kids in any strong and meaningful way outside of patient-doctor relationship. Never seen that before. So I asked them and the surgeons, could we consider brainstorming an idea that would address kids from 4 to 13 years old to feel powerful about being in the whole world of health sciences and health and wellness, but have a deeper relationship with the inner workings of it through surgeons, doctors, medical students, and try to see if we can do something to raise a different profile. And they said, wow, that's interesting. How do we get started? I said, I can't do the heavy work, but the students, you all can. You all can create the curriculum for these kids, and guess what? You'll feel a feeling like you never felt in life if you take on this challenge. And that was the starting process of Future Healers. And really quickly on that platform, we started to work. We started to evolve it. We got a launch date, which was July of 2021. But we had everything together, but we needed a visual to touch, especially black people, about what we was doing. So my daughter Heaven, who's over there, beautiful Heaven, and myself had an idea. We says we know our people better than y'all know. And what we need is a visual. So U of L Health, do me a favor. And they said, what is that, Chris? Lend me a surgical room and me and Heaven to do the work. We got her children, my grandchildren. We put them in scrubs. We put them in surgical masks. We put stethoscopes around their necks. We went and got the trauma facility dog room. We got in room number 9, where most people who get shot in this city, and if it's a severe shooting, they have to go to room number 9 to prep for surgery, and the magic occurs. We got U of L marketing to get and document those photos. And then I said, I'm gonna take it from here. I got with our marketing partners right now out in Norton Commons. And then I got with my good friend Mike Sheehy of Outfront Media. And I said, we're gonna put these images on digital boards all around this city. And when people ride and see this with little black kids in a surgical room, they gotta look. And guess what? That started this snowball effect of how Future Healers in July of 21 started with 25 kids. And I'm proud to announce that we kicked off our 4th year last weekend on August 10th, I believe. at the Clinical Transitional Research Lab for COSARIS for Kids at U of L Hospital and U of L Health, our enrollment now is 163 kids. 163 kiddos.
Chris, that is absolutely incredible.
And really quick on the wrap up on that, it's because Black parents want their kids to look important. And let me tell y'all something about the Scrubs. I'll quickly go over our last two platforms really quick. But the Scrubs, I had a hunch on something. I said, you know what? When we want to impress somebody, we put on the suit and ties, we put on beautiful dresses, and that is a way to impress people. Mm-hmm. But I had this hunch that we put little Black kids in Scrubs, that nobody could look away. They could say, boy, look at those little professionals. And guess what? It's working.
Changes the narrative.
Thank you
Absolutely.
so much on that.
Thank you, Chris.
Our other platforms is an Animal Kingdom platform, which is Zoo Buddy. Zoo Buddies, we use that platform to take kids behind the scenes at the zoo, to work with zookeepers, do Animal Kingdom projects that helps the therapy perspective of what we do. We will resource a family if they want to a clinical therapist, but some families don't hang too long. So we had to have a backup plan. Future Healers is therapy in itself as far as the mentorship part. We've actually launched a teenage project in Future Healers, a pilot project for teens now, where they come in and do internship and get paid in the hospital to shadow people and still come and help the kids in the program. With our Animal Kingdom platforms, it's about getting kids and parents to feel apathy, to feel that if you can love an animal, you can love a human being. And that's part of our platform. And last platform is our nature-based therapy platform, Planet Savers. We want to push, especially kids of color, into more green spaces and to get acquainted with more nature-connected events where they can feel the power of that in a family unit. One last thing on the wrap-up that most of you all do not know about. When we started Future Healers, Zoo Buddies, and Planet Savers, I told the doctors, the people at the zoo, and even our partners within the green spaces that the only way that this was going to work and I could deliver the message is that we needed at least 95% to 100% parent participation. So guess what happens that you guys really never get to see sometimes? At each of our curriculum sessions, there's nearly 90 to 100% parent participation where the parents never drop the kids off and they're witnessing the positivity that also fouls back on them where they get addictive and want to be there with their kids every time.
Thank you, Chris. Well, it's very clear that Game Changers really does provide some holistic care, not just for the kid, but for the family and the whole unit altogether. So the West Louisville Trailblazer Award is created so that we can highlight West Louisville entrepreneurs. And the Trailblazer portion of it is just wanting to highlight the way that you've just blazed a path for others to be able to go down, but also blazing a path to sustain like stability and success in the West End. And so our final question is, what advice do you have for future Trailblazers?
Dig deep and understand, without any question, you are a special person for a special time. And even when you feel like I'm nothing, you're something. Every person that exists on the planet Earth has the potential to impact someone on the planet Earth. I believe that wholeheartedly. I understand the lanes that my talent brings me in, and I know how to punt the ball to somebody else who's a little bit more talented than I am to deal with the lane that I can't deal with. Mm-hmm. So don't be ashamed to reach out to a person and say, you've got a better expertise level on this than I do. We do that at Game Changers. We get a question about something that we can't tackle, we're looking for a resource for that person. Because we know our lane, and we know the lane that we can accommodate these families, especially the kids and the parents in. And so I would like to tell everybody in this room, and one reason I showed up is to let you all know that every single one of you all are a trailblazer in your own way to somebody that you've touched in life, and you better keep touching them and not think for 1 minute that you don't have that power.
LIBA appreciates the West Louisville Trailblazers, presenting sponsor, Park Community Credit Union, who make these videos possible.
Park Community has been partnering with LIBA for a very long time, as this is inspiring for our mission. Keyword in our name is community. So that is pretty much what we focus on. Whether you walk into a branch or you meet any one of our loan officers, we're focused in here to help you guys. Specifically when it comes to real estate investments, business investments, if you have any business inquiries or questions in how to grow your business, reach out to any Park Community representative and they'll steer you in the right direction.
AMP is an organization that stands for Adventurous Minds Produce Extraordinary Dreams, and we're focused on supporting Black and brown families in underserved and underrepresented communities. Park Community Credit Union has impacted AMP in a major way. With our partnership with Park, we are able to build this Technology Workforce Development Training Center that will impact lives all throughout West Louisville and other underserved communities, but not just West Louisville, but all of Louisville.
We also would like to acknowledge Business First for their additional support.
LIBA is all about buying local and supporting independent businesses. We are one of the largest independent business alliances in the country with over 850 members. And many people know us from our Buy Local fairs and our Keep Louisville Weird message. So we spread the word about why buying local is important, and one of the big reasons is more dollars stay circulating in the local community. In fact, we did a study that shows for every $100 that you spend, when you spend it at a local, 55 will remain recirculating, but when you spend that at a national chain, only like 14, and when it's at a mega online retailer, close to 0. So when you buy from independent businesses, you're really supporting your community and keeping those dollars recirculating. So LIBA is not only an education organization, we're also a membership organization. We are all about supporting those local independent businesses where we want you to shift your dollars towards. We not only educate the public, but we also act as a voice for those businesses. When 850 businesses come together, that's a strong voice for the media, for the government, and we want to be sure that all of our members' voices are heard. So we want to hit our members' bottom line, and the way that we do that is we drive traffic directly to our members, and we do that through things like our Buy Local fairs, our B2B event, the Local Business Expo, things like our printed Buy Local guide, our online business directory, and all of our social media is out there promoting our businesses. We just want to get the word out to the public about who our local businesses are and how they can find them. So to find out all about LIBA, go to keeplouisvilleweird.com. You can find out all the information about why buying local is important, including the study that we did about how our dollars recirculate more when you buy local. You can also find out about becoming a business member. That's at keeplouisvilleweird.com, or you can call us at 502-473-4687.